Why is it so hard to admit you have lived a lie? The backward nature of government. This is an extremely important article, whether it's you personally as a person, or me personally as a person, or governments, when we operate in business, relationships, whatever it is. For some reason, it's so hard for us as humans to admit we live a lie. And this affects everything in your life, your money, your well-being, your posterity, your family, your legacy. This is extremely important. And this is everything moving forward. We have a lot of articles, a lot of blogs about this subject. And it's the backwards nature of our system. And if we do not understand this, we will be destined for failure, destined for a lower standard of living. How backwards our system is. It's kind of ironic that we have government that is supposedly going to pay for all these items, but yet the government has zero money. Think about that. The government has nothing. How can it give what it does not have? How do we have these entitlements, these other things that the government has no money? We act like the government, these rights and these laws, these rules, this money all comes from this all-powerful government. Ooh, what's going on here? No, we are the ones that rule over them. They work for us. That's it. We have the value. We have the money. We have the goods and services. They do not. That we have to get straight. And until we understand that, and here in America, I see people every single day, even people in the Bitcoin community, people in the freedom movement community, talking about the democracy we have. We don't have a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. Federal republic. This is what we have. It's a representative republic. We do not have a democracy. We do not have mob rule. This is not how it works. This is why we have the Electoral College. It's that there's a few cities that can't run the country, as we have seen. If we let Portland run the country or something like that, we'd be on fire, and we already are almost. But think about where this would have gone 150 years ago if we didn't have the Electoral College. We didn't have this mob rule, and that's why. We didn't have mob rule purposely because the Founding Fathers were not some dolts, some unintellectual slave-owning fools. They understood exactly what was going on. All men were created equal. They knew that all men would be created equal, or that they would be free, and that's why they put in there that they were equal. This is why they did what they did. This is why they gave us an electoral college, a representative republic, so that way people we make it hard. There's three branches of government. There's checks and balances. That way it's very hard to pass laws. That's very hard to be emotional about things and pass stupid laws. And people get, what is government doing? They just don't get things done. Good. They're not supposed to get things done. We are so backwards now because we want things now. We're asking what our government can do for us instead of what we can do for our government, like John F. Kennedy said. And think about, he was a Democrat 60 years ago, 70 years ago. That was happening. And think about how different we are now and how far left all the parties have gone, how far to the progressive globalist communism side of the spectrum everyone has gone. The Overton window has shifted. This is how backwards all of us are as people. Like I said in the beginning, this is so important because this is the people are backwards and we are backwards then obviously as a culture and then as politics. As the people go, so does culture, then goes politics. So politics is just a symptom of what's going on. Social media is just a symptom of just showing us what we already are as people. Again, the government owns nothing. They don't produce anything. So how can they pay for anything? How are they giving the government, how are they giving us anything? They don't have anything. So we give them that power. We let them print currency out of nothing and pay off other people, keep themselves in power, constrict us, take liberties away, and then we let them tax us on it. We allow them to take currency from us and then tax us in the back end to pay for that money that they're giving away, that currency that they're giving away, then redistributing to other people or giving it to proxy wars like Ukraine and Russia, or giving it to bad actors here and there across the world, or giving to their buddies, paying off 10% for the big guy. That debt then comes back around. We have to pay the next year. Our taxes go into paying for this boondoggle. Excuse me, think about that. You guessed it. Again, how do they pay for this? By stealing the wealth of its citizens through taxes directly and inflation indirectly. Government harms the producers of the economy to pay for the people who aren't producing anything, the consumers in the economy. How long do you think that recipe can last in any given country? That the producers just producing away and the consumers just sitting there. Many people, 50% of the country or more, I think it's 50 or 60% of the country, doesn't even pay federal income taxes. So the majority of the country doesn't even pay anything in the system. They have no skin in the game. How are they getting a say in what's going on? That's absolute insanity. Would you let someone just walk into your house and choose how you're going to live your life or manage your expenses, manage your finances? No, because they're not in your family. They don't give anything to your family. They don't pay your bills. They don't do anything for you. But yet they're going to come in and have a say and have a vote in what you and your spouse are doing in your life. You and your significant other. They're just going to come in. I'm going to come in. I have nothing to do with your life. I'm going to come in and tell you what you can do with your money. And I'm going to have a say. I'm going to have a vote now. So now it's 3-2. Oh, then I'm going to get someone else in here. Now I'm going to make it four people. So now there's two and two or 3-1. Now I'm going to get 10 more people in here. I'm going to get them in and we're going to vote on what you do with your household and how you handle your finances, parenting your children, your relationships, etc. Think about this. Think about the insanity. Again, when we have destruction of people at the top, it then leads to the culture, what kind of culture we're living in, and then that is what gives us our politics. Again, how long is this going to last? Well, we're going to find out how that experiment works here very soon with the end game coming. The tracks are out ahead, very, very quickly approaching. We've been talking about this for years. Blog started 10 years ago, talking about this very thing, seeing the writing on the wall, telling what I saw coming from studying politics history, monetary history for 10 years prior to that, starting in 2000 as a middle schooler, literally as a middle schooler, what I had seen coming. And I can only talk from my experience, what I've studied, all the things I've lived, the businesses I've had. And this is just continually confirms everything I've been seeing, writing about, reading about, studying the founding fathers, studying history, studying philosophy, studying you name it. Voltaire, Socrates, studying John Locke, all the great philosophers, Adam Smith. This is what the founding fathers were studying, going back hundreds and hundreds of years. Bonds are swinging violently all over the place. They aren't supposed to, newsflash. The currency dying and dragging all of their currencies of the world down with it. Newsflash, they aren't supposed to do that. And again, we have these volatile currencies. Everyone talks about, oh my goodness, Bitcoin's so volatile. Oh, wow. Well, how about these going, down 10, 15% in a day? The pound sterling against the dollar. I mean, this is all these currencies are doing this, collapsing everywhere, yet Bitcoin's volatile. Bitcoin's the only thing out of the system. And these fiat currencies are just dragging you down into the gutter daily, and yet no one cares because it's a system you grew up with. Lying to yourself, like I said at the top. Why is it so hard to admit we've lived in a lie? Why is it so hard to admit that the 401k you've attached your life to, your sense of being, your retirement, is a lie? That's a complete lie. It was there to fund Wall Street and pay for these guys' Hamptons houses, fees, assets under management. You've been living a lie. I hate to break it to you, but in order for things to start getting better, we must start being honest with ourselves. We must start taking action and going the opposite direction. If you want something different, the average 401k balance has 133 grand in it. We've done, check our previous videos the last couple of weeks, previous articles about the 401k and the senators coming out and trying to trash Bitcoin and literally outing and explaining exactly what the problem is and showing their hand. And again, proving all of us right. So please go check that out. It's absolute insanity we're living in. We're going to keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. We're going to keep giving the government money, our money, not theirs. They act like it's theirs and then tell you it's theirs, and then you accept it, and they go pay off other people. They go 10% for the big guy. They go pay off other groups of people. They go incentivize people to keep streaming over the borders, again, which is fine, but we don't follow any of the laws and rules, which is not fine. So we have no idea what's coming over the borders. We have no idea what's going on. Everything's a complete disaster, a complete mess. We're funding our 15th, 18th, 20th military package over to Ukraine. No one asked any of us if that was okay. Well, we did by us voting for these morons to come into office. And then they just keep sending your currency over there because they're just going to print it. They print it, which leads to higher inflation. Again, things no one's telling you. Going to lead to more inflation, higher inflation. This is going to continue. The cycle will just continue unless you break apart from the system, you break free and come on a Bitcoin standard. Gold, unfortunately, does not do this. I thought it was gold 5, 10 years ago. It does not do that. Gold leads to centralization, actually more, which we've seen now, whether it's Fort Knox or all the central banks of the world, because it's hard to move. Gold is one of the most finite assets we have, and it has utility, but it's hard to move. Bitcoin solves all those problems. Can't be confiscated. It's permissionless. It's trustless, meaning no one can tell you what to do with it. It can go around the world in a split second. We can move it instantaneously. It has all the properties that humans have been looking for. That discovery has now changed Earth, and those that are on that standard are going to see here in a second why your life continually gets better over time. Again, you don't have to look further than the Middle East or Sri Lanka or developed nations like Japan in the last month or two, or most recently this week and last day or two, the UK pound sterling having massive trouble and on the brink. Absolute chaos. This is inevitable, and this is an inevitable endgame of inflation-based fiat currencies. And here's your life the last 7 years if you were in fiat. If you're in US dollar, this is your life just kind of up and down, just getting more expensive over time because it's losing purchasing power. And here's your life the last 7, 10 years on Bitcoin. If you were holding Bitcoin this whole time instead, and on a Bitcoin standard instead of a fiat currency standard, your life got exponentially cheaper. Everything in your life, this is just eggs right here, but this shows you this is a microcosm of everything. Your life has become instantly cheaper, and it will mathematically do this over time because of its properties. And because we know mathematically the governments have to keep printing currency because we're in a debt and credit-based inflationary system. Again, if you hold fiat currency, you will get more expensive life coming your way. Life will get harder. Again, it's mathematically guaranteed. Guaranteed. That's a guarantee we can easily make because we know it's just math. Why do governments take from their own citizens? This is a great question. Let's answer it. As you probably realize, since the government has no money, it can only take from its citizens. They do this while promising to give out entitlements and grandiose sweeping bill plans to fund its citizenry in retirement, or if they can't afford health care, etc., etc. Why do they do this? Well, this is the big answer right here. It's a vote buying mechanism. That's why. That's all it is. The more you can give other people's money away and redistribute it through the population, the more votes you can buy and the more you can consolidate, keep power for yourself. The person who is best at telling this lie, the politicians that are best of this, telling the lie of constant handouts, holds power longest. This is diametrically opposed. I mean, look at, there's a lady who's a Speaker of the House. I can't remember her name. You might know her. She's a Speaker of the House in the United States. Just her name escapes my mind for some reason. But she's been in power for decades. And ironically, she keeps doubling her wealth every few years. I don't know. I mean, call me crazy. We could go down the list of other people on both sides of the aisle. There's a guy who runs the Senate as well. I forget his name as well. But go check him out. Go Google him, the Speaker of the House, and then the Senate Minority Leader. Go check them out, and you're going to be fascinated to see their history and their wealth just continually growing, even though they're just public servants. That's all. Don't mind them. Anyway, I digress. This is diametrically opposed to how the country is set up and what made it exceptional, as you could probably tell. Government is there to uphold laws and let the free market battle it out, which then promotes competition. The cream rises to the top, the best companies, the best people, the best inventors, the best investors, and it raises the standard of living for everyone through downward price pressure, meaning competition creates better prices for all. Government is not meant to be the entity you are in bed with and do business with. Government always screws those things up. Government has no incentive because they hold the barrel of the gun to everyone's head. They have no incentive. They have no incentive to being efficient, to being effective, to lowering prices. They actually want to raise prices because that helps them. That helps obscure what's going on in the world and consolidate more power. Government is now the arbiter of good and evil, dictating culture by redistributing the wealth of its citizens. The government's found that by debasing the currency, printing it, or taxing its people, it can shape public discourse and usurp power. And here's the purchasing power of the dollar. Again, here's a more zoomed out view of what we were showing you earlier from the Fed, actually from the Fed. This is an infographic of the purchasing power of the dollar since 1913 all the way up to 2020, of what's happened since the Federal Reserve was created. This disastrous. If you would have held dollars, if you were a wealthy family just holding dollars and that was it, 1913, you've lost 98, 95, 99% of your purchasing power. Incredible. Now, if you were a wealthy family back then, you probably didn't just hold dollars because you were intelligent. You knew how to grow your wealth and use these trends as your friend. You need hard assets, or you need a hard, sound money. Again, where do you think this goes? The trend is your friend. Remove yourself from the system. Where do you think this goes? You think this trend is going to reverse? It can't. It's physically impossible. Mathematically impossible and physically possible. You can't reverse and pay things off and do austerity. You can't because we're in a debt-based system. There's more debt in the system than there is money. Think about that. There's more debt in the system than there is actually value, actual money, actual currency. So what does that mean? It means the system implodes. We try to pay it all off, and now you've paid off all the principal, but there's only interest left. But there's no more principal left, just interest. There's only debt, interest left, but there's no more currency in the system. What does that mean? Boom! Explosions, implosions. The system can't work. It's done. It implodes. That's why we need to transfer this peaceful transfer into Bitcoin out into another system. The parallel economy is being built all around you, and I can't wait to show everyone here in this blog what's being built all around you, and you really might not even know it. Most people have no idea the economy being built alongside the normal economy right now, that people, the life raft that people are going to be able to escape to. Again, how can government take something from its citizens that it doesn't have? How is this mess enabled? Well, it's because we, the people, let them. The currency printing monopoly that the government has over its people. The ability to steal people's time and energy and give it to others as it sees fit, and then has the audacity to tax you to then pay for that borrowing the government did. Like our forefathers warned, the power to create currency should be locked in the hands of the people, not in the hands of the state. It's time to distribute that power back to the people where it belongs. The only money in the world that can do this and check all the necessary boxes for the people is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the digital money of the future that cannot be corrupted, cannot be changed or diluted to steal anyone's wealth and transfer it through this vote-buying mechanism to the unproductive class, the former elites. Gone are the days of insane spending and socialized programs, deficits, and bridges to nowhere, and 20-year wars, Cold War, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. Fiat currency and inflation are like an anchor around the neck of the unproductive fiat currencies inflations are like an anchor around the neck of the productive people in society, where people eventually tire out under the weight of the unproductive class. Productive people eventually die or fight back. This is the area we find ourselves at in the society. Buckle up. It's going to be a peaceful fight. It's going to be a peaceful fight transition to a new monetary standard, the Bitcoin standard. People argue that Social Security and Medicare aren't entitlements, and they are owed that. When you realize that those programs are insolvent, that means the government took your money and then spent it on buying votes. The government took your hard-earned labor in the form of money and put it other places and other areas of the government that they deemed more appropriate, that they deemed were important for them, not for you. And those things produced nothing because it bought them votes. And that was what was most important, not your well-being. This is the very nature of government, producing nothing, and now they've left you holding the bag. It's our own fault, quite honestly, and we've let it get this bad. Don't get me wrong, you will get paid out, but it will be through the explosion, the utter explosion of more currency printing. This is coming, I guarantee it, which will devalue the dollar that you are seeking, doing more devaluation of your dollar, creating more inflation. This will increase the cost of consumer goods and services 10x, 100x, 1000x, and beyond in the coming years. You'll get your $1,000 a month in Social Security, but a gallon of gas and a loaf of bread will cost you a $20 bill. Minimum. Going down the same inflationary path is insanity. Time for deflation, for the world to raise its standard of living after we get through the hard times of restructuring. Got Bitcoin? Hashtag learn math, as Greg Foss says. Stay strong. Brandon, if you got something on this, please, please, please share it with somebody. Please share it with someone that you think might appreciate this. Like and subscribe. And this is a fight of our lives, like we've been talking about so much lately. This is the fight. So please like, subscribe, share. If you do not like it, please dislike it. Please let me know so we can provide a better product, a better service, more value going forward. And lastly, we appreciate your time and your energy. It's the most important ask we have. We look forward to seeing you on the next one.